There are not so many deep things today because I just want to share some things what is going on. And for me it is very exciting what is going on, so I want to share that this afternoon. But first of all, I have an announcement also for the conference. Like we did the last years, also this year we would like that each coordinator will prepare something for the conference on one evening to share 45 to 60 seconds about his or her department. So be prepared for that. We don't know yet which evening it will be. You will hear that later on. Maybe you have any news about it. It is on the list. The day? On a Tuesday night. Okay, on a Tuesday night. So, and we would like to have also some pictures from you, from each department, between 5 and 10 pictures, and you can send them to Kevin, and he will put together a nice PowerPoint. And if a coordinator is not here, and you know this person has to know it also, because I might miss Pam, please tell also those who are not here. And I asked Carrie if he would highlight the wall of prayer, because we don't have really one for the wall of prayer, and he is willing to do that for the wall of prayer, and Lori will do it for the water leaf. So for that we are covered. And before the evening, in that same evening, we will have a little rehearsal, how we will come up, how we will present it, so that each one of them will be on time there, but I will give you the time later that we will rehearse it a little bit, so that it will be an orderly thing when we come up. That was that. Are there questions about that?
I need the pictures last week.
The pictures last week. He needs pictures last week. Not now, not tomorrow, last week. But, yeah, in time, on time. Yeah. Thank you. Then the exciting thing what I spoke about. As you maybe all know, every year there is held a March of the Living in Poland. And I had it for a long time on my heart to walk this march. But all the time when I wanted to go, the group that went, where I was in contact with, there were not enough people, so it got cancelled. This year again, we were speaking about it in the XCOM. Ray and Sharon and Kevin agreed for me to go there. And again, we spoke about it, and then I heard that it doesn't go on this year because the leader who will lead this group, she is sick. And then I thought, oh no, not again. Then one afternoon I was working on a computer, and all of a sudden a thought came in my head. It was, why you don't call Stanislav? Stanislav is our rep in Slovakia, and he is also very much involved in the March of the Living. So I didn't wait too long, because if I get such thing in my head, I think it could be something that the Lord wants to tell me. So I looked up his phone number and I called Stanislav. And I explained what was going on for a few years already, and I was a little bit disappointed that this year again I couldn't go. And then he said, why don't come to Slovakia? I said, to Slovakia? Yeah. He said, I'm anyway going to Poland to the March of the Living. In 2 seconds, he had a whole program for me. He said, you come to Slovakia, I take you to Poland, you will walk the March of the Living. The March of the Living is from Auschwitz to Birkenau, the greatest concentration camps that is exploited in the World War II. So the next day, I will show you the most important things what you have to see. On Saturday, we go back to Slovakia. You stay a night there. Sunday morning, you can speak in my home congregation. And after lunch, we go and travel to the Ukraine. Wow. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was also one thing that is on my heart, to go once to the Ukraine, because many of the Holocaust survivors come from the Ukraine. And if you go there and you feel where they come from, you have even more input in their lives. So I was really excited when he told me that. So I thought first about, the cost. But it turns out it is much cheaper than I would have gone with the tour group. Much cheaper. Even so cheap that I can take someone with me who can speak Russian and can translate for me. So Tanya is going with me to this trip. So we are very excited about it. Also Tanya, because her grandmother lives in Ukraine. And when she was a child, she visited very often her grandmother in Ukraine. So she is a little bit, she knows the things about it, and she will be a good guide for me there. But then another thing, I think what we do in Ukraine. So I asked Stanislav, he said we can visit a few soup kitchens because he has an organization who supports the soup kitchens in Ukraine because the economical, how you say this, situation in Ukraine gets worse, he said. So many people suffering. And he is very much involved in this to help the people to get at least one meal a day. And then he said we can visit some Holocaust survivors. So I spoke about it in the EXCOM, I spoke with Ray about it, and he said, it looks fine. Then I sent him an email because when you go there, you want to take something. So I said, can you tell me what could I take for this soup kitchens and Holocaust survivors? Of course, the best thing is money, because then they can buy their things. And €1 is there much more worth than €1 in Europe. So I thought, okay, I had something in my head to do. But then I said, tell me how many soup kitchens we will visit and how many survivors. I thought maybe 2 soup kitchens and 3-4 survivors, because we are only 3 days in the Ukraine. So he wrote me back. He said, we will visit 4 soup kitchens and 30 survivors. I said, oh my goodness, 30 survivors and in 3 days and 4 soup kitchens. But you know, I'm not concerned about at all, because I really feel this is from the Lord. And he will give us the strength to do this. And what he wrote also, he said, and don't be too worried about to bring things. He said, because I think this is a start for a new thing. And I think, okay, God knows more than that I know, and I will keep it in my head. So that is why I'm very, very excited about it. The march, what is going on in Poland, most of it are young people from all over the world who walk this march. To learn them what happened during the Holocaust. It is on Holocaust Memorial Day, actually, that they walk the march. Then they come back to Israel and celebrate here the Independence Day. And also the last years, more and more people can go and walk also on this march. And then I thought also, some people think, do we have to remember it? Is it the 60 years after the war? Is it not time to forget it? And then we got this email from Gloria Putnam. And then you think, yes, it is necessary. Because she writes, this week, the University of Kentucky removed the Holocaust from its school curriculum. How do you say that? Yeah, curriculum. Because it offended the Muslim population, which claims it never occurred. This is a frightening portent for the fear that is gripping the world and how easily each country is giving into it. It is now more than 60 years after the Second World War in Europe ended. Now more than ever, within Iran, among others, claiming the Holocaust to be a myth, is imperative to make sure the world will never forget. So then I thought, yes, it is still necessary that this walk continues, so that the world will not forget that it happened. It is so easily to say, this happened 60 years ago. But we can see around us what is going on in the world today. When we hear speaking this Iranian man, then I get chicken skin. I get chicken skin. It is really fearful to hear that. So that is actually what I wanted to share today, and ask your prayers for this trip, because I think we need your prayers that we... Yes, that's okay. Yeah, we can do it on the end, no problem. And then it is also my turn today to share something about Forsake Them Not. We have a little PowerPoint of that. I will not make it too long. Because the others, they need also time. Okay. Yeah, then I can see it, yeah. Okay. Okay, I need water and don't need napkins today, or... Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, I think so. Everybody can see it, yeah. Yeah, I liked this picture very, very, very much. Esther, she lives in Pardes, Ghana, and she is one of the survivors who got a gift basket with Hanukkah. We went of the team, Tanya and I didn't go, but the others, they went to Pardes, Ghana to hand out his gift baskets and light the candles for Hanukkah. And also we give 10 survivors their electric heater for the winter, because they didn't have anything for the winter time, and they appreciate it very much. So. This is Hannah Saltzman, and she lives in Netanya. She lives in the basement of an apartment block, so it's very dark there, and she's very sick. And she's all the time only on her bed. She and her mother were the only survivors from the whole family, like so often that we hear that. Here in Israel says, as is good. In Yiddish, it is good, it is okay. When we read the footsteps, they were very much touched by the words. The verses from Yesaiah spoke especially to the heart of the daughter who was with her that day. Her daughter said, "Do you understand, Ma, what it says? It speaks to you. This is why we are here today." Then she explains, "My mother's name is Yaakov, and a part from the footsteps is taken from Messiah." And I would read that and you see the connection. It says, "Listen to me, O house of Jacob, and all the remnant of the house of Israel, who have been upheld by me from birth, who have been carried from the womb, even to your old age, I am he. And even to gray hairs, I will carry you." Isn't that wonderful? Doesn't fit that together? "I have made and I will bear. Even I will carry and will deliver you." So the daughter, she was very much touched by this word, and she understood. And she told her mother to listen to that. The next one. This is another beautiful picture I had. Where I have this? Oh yeah. This is Friedel Stievelman from Kiryat Atta. And, I just sometimes like the pictures. That is why I choose them. They're so beautiful. They sit there and they have this beautiful blanket on their lap. But this is also, this is a couple, and they live in very poor circumstances. Both suffered a lot also during the war, but they didn't want to speak too much about it. Here in Israel, they feel very, very happy. But they live really on the edge of poverty. But they are so proud of their apartment because they found all the furniture near the rubbish. And they are so proud that they made a home from furniture that they found in the rubbish. And they are happy. And then we cannot even imagine, that people can be happy when they have such a poor life and live really on the edge. But they are happy. Next one. There's a picture from the Purim event in Bet Shemesh. There's only a few pictures. We went there for Purim, and they received all little gift baskets and 1,000 shekel each. There were 16 survivors there, and they were very much touched that we didn't forget them. We just continued. The other one, she was crying, and she said, "Thank you so much that you came today and didn't forget us." The other one. And this eyes, I don't know if you can see it, but this eyes, she got a check from 1,000 shekel, and look at her eyes. She is so happy. Yeah. You can continue. This is a picture what we made in Ashkelon when we went also for the Purim event to Ashkelon. And they have a little museum from the people, from the survivors from Ashkelon who survived the war. And this is one of the pictures. It says Zicharon HaShoah, members of the war. You can continue. Of course, we had to give a little speech, and we got presents again. And on the front, who gives the present is Mark Meshok. He is the leader of the committee in Ashkelon. We gave 210 survivors in Ashkelon a gift basket for Purim. And Tanya and I visited 10 others who couldn't come. They were too sick to come, and we visited them in their homes, and they got a check. But Mark Meshok, we saw him a few weeks ago, and he said, I don't want to live anymore. He has such a pain every day, and it's nearly daily that you have to bring him to the hospital. Then he comes back again, and they have to bring him again. He cannot swallow anymore. And he said, I don't know why I'm so fat, because I eat nearly nothing. And he's always in pain, and he said, it is enough, I don't want to live anymore. And that's very sad to hear, because he does a lot for the survivors in Ashkelon. And, okay, it doesn't matter, yeah. And this is when we left the room. They stood all to thank CFI and to thank the team for all what we are doing for them, and they really appreciate it. And one thing I want to add, I don't have a picture from her, when we visited one of these sick people in their homes, she told us just on the end that one of the Qassam rockets fell in their courtyard near their home. They destroyed the boiler, the windows, the doors, and everything. And she is a very heavy lady. And she said on that moment she was just on the toilet. And the blast was so heavy that it swept her from the toilet and she fell to the floor. You know, and then you think, what is this? These people, they survived the war and now they have to suffer again from this. But the whole community, actually, they were so happy that we came with Purim, because just before the rockets fell in Ashkelon, and that we were not afraid to come to Ashkelon. They appreciated it very much. Yeah. Do I have more? Oh, yeah. This is in Petah Tikva. We were invited there to celebrate with them the 60th anniversary that they got liberated from the camps or from the ghetto. And that was really a happy gathering. And Tanya and I went there, and of course had to speak something, and I said something funny there, I think, because everybody was laughing. But I received this photo book, and I will go it around so that you can look at it, because they made nice pictures from Petah Tikva, and even we are in it, so I will go it around and you can have a look at it. Thank you. Should I call next one? Yeah. The next one who will share something about her department is Karen Lewis. Nebraska? That is not mine.
Nebraska what?
Nebraska.
Nebraska red. I'm not very red today. Okay. Wow, lots been happening in Dave Shield. I think this has been like my busiest season I think I've ever had. I've been working late to raise great delight. But there's been really 3 great doors that have been opening up. I don't know whether I've shared about, probably some of it I have. One of which is the soldiers' conferences. Those are the Jewish believers in the land of Israel. And what's really neat about what's going on there, we had 2 conferences. One in January. I didn't have a team to cook at that time because my cooks left me because of visas. And then we had one in April 4th and 5th. And Karen and Frank were great helping me with that, with Donna as well. So it's nice to have a cooking team. What's really been neat with these conferences is we're just there to come alongside and serve them. And I've been there for 3 years doing it. And what's really a great blessing through these conferences is I'm able to make new contacts to new units, also to help more lone soldiers, also to help the believing community. And the interesting thing that I found out these last 3 years is there's really been no leadership among them. It's been kind of, I think I've shared before, it's just sort of slapped together at the last minute. Well, it looks like the Lord is raising up a leadership team, and they're starting their own Amutah. And they're wondering if CFI can somehow sponsor this Amutah. Well, because of accounting purposes and things like this, we're not supposed to help the Messianic community. Supposedly, the auditors frown on that. And so I've had to kind of go through a back door to our CFI. Yeah, first fruits is fine, but anyway, this is what Vesco's been teaching me. So what I've done is I've gone through a back door to our CFI representatives through a Gmail account and sent them a letter explaining what Ralph's vision is, Michael's vision is, and to raise financial support. So I've done, like I did a Guardians of Jerusalem, a unit. I've done a folder in my mind, a sub-account, I guess is the word, to help the believing community, to help with these conferences, to finance them, and also to help them get on their feet as a nonprofit organization, to get our supporters out there aware of it, because a lot of people, we cannot advertise in our For Zion's sakes that we are helping the believing community in the Army. The only way I can communicate this is through people who come and tour and they're believers. So I need to get it out there, so the Lord's given us a way, and I just thank the Lord for that. So you can pray for that. I really would appreciate that. Another great door that's opened up just recently, in just a couple of weeks, is the wounded soldiers. I guess some of you guys know Dan and Shimon. Maybe you don't know, but they're a couple of war veterans that we used to do hospital visits for about 2 or 3 years together. 2 years ago, so it was 5 years ago, we began together as a team. Dan and Shimon. Dan is blind from the First Lebanon War, about my age, and Shimon's about my age also. And he was involved in our DVD. Remember our DVD? His face was burnt. Okay, that's Shimon. In case some of you guys don't know that. Anyway, he was involved in the first Intifada. And a firebomb was in his Jeep, and he was burned. Anyway, these two guys are awesome with the wounded soldiers. They're able to help the parents, give them comfort. They're able to meet everybody from every spectrum because these people are there. They were there in their pain and able to share, and also able to direct the parents and the wives or whoever's involved where to go to get help, which has been a great blessing. And CFI has been there just to let them know that we're praying for them, we love them, we're behind you 100%, and if there are special needs, we're able to give them financial support. Well, the door was closed for 2 years because a lady who was in charge of the unit knows exactly what Dan and Shimon do, like I do, and she saw their value, and she had to leave the country to go to the United States to continue on her education, I guess, in her field of expertise in the Army. Long story short, she came back, and now she's in charge of most of the hospitals where the wounded soldiers are, and she's calling Dan and Shimon back and me back, and she's even opened a door for me to help wounded soldiers in the Second Lebanon War, which I could not even get in. So that's a big blessing. And another door that's really wide open, I don't know whether you guys noticed, but there's been some lone soldiers come through here quite a bit, at least 2 or 3 a month. And it's just been exciting meeting these young men. I just want to encourage you with the young people. All of them are Zionists in heart, the ones that I have met. I met them, they've come from America, Australia, the ones that I've met, and Canada. And it's amazing what they're doing. Natalie from Australia, she works. We helped her get tickets to go to Australia. She hasn't seen her family for almost 2 years. I could just go through each of these, but for the sake of time, I won't. There's only one soldier I do want to bring up. His name is Nachshon. This young man broke my heart. He was actually born in South Africa. He is a Cohen. And for some reason, he was adopted out to foster parents in America. Well, he was adopted out to a Christian family. I was like, oh, maybe he's a believer. Come to find out they were missionaries to Romania. And they were religious, and they beat him up, and they homeschooled him. So he's come from a very, very bad, bitter taste with Christians. I'm surprised he actually came to us. He knew he was Jewish during this whole time. And so whenever he got out of that situation, he got out and he came into Israel, and he started a whole new life. He changed his name he wouldn't even tell me his American name. He changed it to Nachshon. So now he's in Israel, and even though he seemed strong, he gave me good eye contact. I could tell he has a hatred and a bitterness towards God. So pray for Nachshon that he wants to keep in touch with me. He knows that I'm a different Christian. He knows that, and I tried to explain that to him, and I apologized as much as I could, but I just explained we have the same heart about Israel. So anyway, pray for that relationship if you think about it. Okay, now to the PowerPoint. I'm just showing you highlights of the fleece jackets. Okay, go ahead. This is where we've given them fleece jackets to, Keshet Yehuda, which is up north. Some of you guys know it's a military training school. We've been giving fleece jackets and care packages to. Guardians of Jerusalem, just 38. They don't need a whole lot, but they're grateful for them. As a matter of fact, the guy who's going to do the tour thanked me today. Thank you for the fleece jacket, by the way. I wear it every night. It keeps me warm. Okay, Bad Shesh is a logistics base. That's a long-time contact. Kfar Hanassi, where lone soldiers were at, Lori and I went up there last November, I believe. We gave them care packages, and they all wanted fleece jackets, so I gave them an order of fleece jackets. And then the Special Forces, Haruv, which is a contact from Vesco. Vesco's pastor's son was on that group, and Ray and I gave out fleece jackets to them at Latrune recently. You'll see pictures of that in a minute. And 101 Paratrooper Training Base, which was a new contact. That was a really nice one. I'll show you pictures on that one. And then the 890 Paratrooper up north in the Mount Hermon, which is awesome. I'll show you pictures of that too. And then the Transportation Unit. They were my last one. I couldn't fill their whole order because they were running out of fleece jacket sizes. But anyways, 930 fleece jackets we gave out at that cost, 66,960 shekels. So go ahead. Okay, this was at the 101 Paratrooper Base. They gave us this flag, which saying, thank you so much. We appreciate the fleece jackets. And it was neat taking Hannah and Stefan along because they were all the same age and they talked the same talk. And it was good. It was really, I think it really blessed both of them. Okay, go on to the next one. Okay, this was the day that was the perfect day. I tell you, it was the perfect day. I mean, the weather. We saw Mount Hermon from the Jordan Valley, just to give you an idea. And it was just absolutely splendid. And anyway, these are some pictures we took. Go ahead. And this was the guys on Mount Hermon. They're literally right by the ski resort, if you've ever been up there, where they look into Syria and Lebanon. And they're only allowed a certain amount of equipment according to the UN laws. They can't take tanks up there. They can't do certain type of equipment, just only certain things. And that's all they're doing. The UNIFIL supposedly is up there making sure they do the same thing. Ha ha. Anyway, carry on. And this is the ping pong table we bought for this unit about 2 years ago. Anyway, I finally had a picture of it because when I took the ping pong table to them, fit it diagonally into the van just fine, got to the base, and we could not get that thing out. It took 10 soldiers to get it out. So they had to take it apart little by little. And finally, I never saw it up, so I took a picture of it with it up. Go ahead to the next picture. And then, as you know, Jackie and I went, this was our dorm room. We went to the Sar El, and that was fun. We went to Nahal Sorek. We were supposed to go up north, but they canceled us at the last minute for some divine reason. Okay, go on. And these were our guides, Adi and Orit. Orit is from the Shamron, and Adi, I forgot where she's from. But anyway, they're like our babysitters on the base. They kind of take us to wherever we go. A typical schedule, I have this typical schedule here. At 7:30 in the morning, we had to be up for the flag-raising ceremony, which was quite entertaining because we had to shower from 7 to 7:30, and it takes me an hour to get ready. So anyway, and at that time, at the flag raising, they gave us news updates from our guides. At 7:40, we were to go to breakfast and clean up our rooms, and at 8:30, we had I go to our work detail. We usually had to leave at about 11:45 for a lunch break, and then back to our work detail at 1. And then we worked until about 5, dinner at 5:30, and then about 7 o'clock, our guides would entertain us, if I could say it that way. They would teach us about the IDF, the history, the icebreakers, what the berets, the colors, the ranks, you name it. It's a lot of fun. If you guys ever want to go, it is really a lot of fun. Living conditions are the pits, but really, it was a lot of fun. And there was a couple of times when we went to the ladies' room in the shower, and there was a soldier in there, so we couldn't get our shower in. And another time a guy was in there, so we couldn't get our shower in. So anyway, you got to be flexible when you're in the Army. Okay, and the next picture is the group that came with us. We were the only 2 girls besides the guides. And it's such a mix. Starting from the right, that's Sam with a beard. He was from the United States Navy. And then behind him is Itai. And then the guy in the front there, his name was, what was his name? Just a second. Gosh. What was his name, Jackie? Not Richard. Bruno, Stephen, Alan. Alan from Wales. He knew Pam Bird. Pam Bird was staying in his house. And then he sat there and he looked at me. Your name is Karen. You work with CFI? You're Karen Lewis. I'm like, what? Who is this guy? He says, I read your articles all the time. I was in shock. Anyway, and he's such a quiet man. And behind him was Sheldon. He was a former pastor. We were trying to recruit that guy to come work with us. Then the guy in the middle with his eyes closed is Alex, a Jew from Colorado with the tattoos, looking for wherever he was looking for. Next to him in the front was Richard. He was a New Age guy from Atlanta, Georgia. A really neat guy, though. Behind him is Bruno. Lord knows about Bruno, poor little guy. And then the guy with his eyes closed in the front is from Scotland. His name was Stephen, and I've contacted him with my friend Linda, so hopefully they're in touch. Behind him is Gordon, and then Jackie and the guides. And then the 2 guys with the sunglasses at the end, the 2 young guys, they were cousins, and they were out to evangelize. And then the guy in the middle was from Italy, and he happened to be in Italy as an officer at the same time that the other guy over there, Sam and Sammy, was also in the U.S. Navy at the same time. So it's kind of amazing. They had a similar background, similar thoughts. It was really quite amazing. Anyway, that's the group. They were really a nice group. We had really good late-night discussions with them. I know Jackie did about the end times. Very interested in what's going on in our perspective. Okay, next slide. Yeah, they were young. They were real young. They thought they were cool. and they were looking to, that was their whole point, was to evangelize, but unfortunately their fruit, their work ethic was poor. And that was a shame. It is against the guidelines, and you're not supposed to proselytize whatsoever. Not even really, not at all. So I don't know if they ever got caught or whatever, but anyway, that was their goal. Okay, this is Vesco's pastor was telling you about Ellie and his son, Ariel. He had another son who was in the same unit, really great unit. This is a special forces unit. We had a hard time getting these fleece jackets to these guys. I had it in my container for 2 months trying to get it to them. The snow canceled, they canceled, and then finally we had a neutral ground where we could give it to them at Latrine, where they did a ceremony there, just a beret ceremony. Go ahead to the next one. And this is our fearless leader addressing the troops. He was just sharing, and they really appreciated that the head guy of Christian Friends of Israel would come and talk to the soldiers. They were really, really amazed. Okay, next picture. And this is them giving out the fleece jackets. They were, unfortunately, it was very hot that day, and they went on a long march the day before, but they were happy. They were really happy to get the fleece jackets. Go ahead to the next one. Okay, this is the same base where we were at, that we happened to be at, Jackie and I, called Amud Ha'esh, which means pillar of fire, and they are an artillery unit. And that is not a tank. If you call that a tank on that base, they would kill you because it's a cannon. So you don't call them tanks. And they are artillery. They support a lot of the combat units. The cannons are a lot more accurate. They shoot a lot more further than a tank. Anyway, going on learning a lot. And this is a young man. He was just a driver of the cannon, and he was quite happy to show him driving. Okay, go ahead. And this is a thank you from the team. We were trying to get up to Mount Hermon a couple of times, but because of snowstorms, we couldn't get up there. So they forwarded me this picture, and this is what they said. They said, this is Brian. He's the English speaker from Colorado in the unit himself. I must admit I am overwhelmed by your support. To think that you drove all the way from Jerusalem in a van full of gifts is simply unbelievable. Things like that make such an amazing difference in our day duties and endless guard shifts and patrols. It's much easier to smile with our new fleece jackets you have given us. Your support gives us strength. I can't think of the words, but thank you so much, Omer, Shai, and Brian. And that's it. Under his wings, Renette.
Shalom. I have to be quick, so I'm going to read things. Because I'm shy, I'm going to read. So, okay, so I'm going to show pictures a little bit later. Not yet. So I'm just for maybe, going quicker, I'll just read. Since December, Jane Bonita left, so it's me and Alina at Under His Wings. So it's been a few months since December. We've been seeing a few follow-ups of our old friends, and we are always happy when we can make contact again. As it is long-standing relationships we try to preserve. During the last months, we don't see so many people that's been involved with bus bombings or isolated incidents of terror, because most of our time at the moment goes into seeing the people from Sderot. In the beginning, most of our Sderot friends came to us at the office. Now, they were very happy about our help, and during December, I remember Lilia telling me about a Russian man that she heard through the Russian media, saying that the only ones that really helps in Sderot is the Christians. And I remember seeing this guy, and we kind of visited him again. He came to visit us again and just bringing us so many gifts. Since probably January, the word spread about us in Sderot, and we had an influx of so many people from Sderot that we had to tighten our boundaries again, in Under His Wings, because we really see people that's been wounded, and kind of physical wounds and so. And it really kind of came to us because we kind of were slowly with the people coming to us, and we seeing them, just from the bus bombings and so. So Sderot actually kind of, gave us, something to work with. But we have to be very careful and not just giving out to whoever. So as the word spread, and it spread very fast in Sderot, what was happening soon after was that people started to refer one another. Most of them could show proof of ambulance. We normally need proof. It's solid proof. So everybody could show a proof of ambulance reports, hospitalization, police visits at home because of Qassam damage. Rich and poor started to ask for help, or being able to show trauma, post-trauma visits to prove that they've been at the mental health clinic. and high anxiety documentation. I don't think we always know where to draw the line, but we pray a lot as we help and hope that the ones that needs the help most we will be able to see. We sometimes get phone calls from people saying they were running from a Qassam, and while running they fell and they broke an ankle or lost some teeth, especially the children. They start to run and become frantic. Or they come down the stairs and they hurt a shoulder because the blast threw them against the wall. Some hurt. Last week we saw a man that he hurt his spine when he was slipping going down the stairs. So we have all of this, and we have to think, is this worth it? And in the end we realize it's worth it because everybody needs so much comfort there. At one point we visited the mental health center in Sderot and asked them to rather refer people to us. The psychologists and the social workers were so busy that the secretary started to refer people, not really on a professional level, but they seemingly, the social workers and the psychologists seemingly gives her the free hand because they seem so overwhelmed. And the people tell us, we go there, often, but we know that they don't really cope themselves, they're the helpers. We once had a woman saying that the psychiatrist referred her to us as he couldn't help her spiritually, so she came to us. That was good. What me and Alina do now is we made a file for the ones that does not make our standards of giving. So our list is growing of people that ask for help but not qualify for Under His Wings. So we do try to refer them to Ranil in Doors of Hope, and we hope that they can be taken care of in that way. We also had a few people with severe house damage that we could use some of the leftover money from the War Relief Fund of last year's war. It helped us greatly, and we could also give more generously through this fund. Page 2. Okay. Our initial contact was through seemingly the only believing congregation in Sderot. And this is a Russian congregation, which is really a little Bible study group that comes together 2 or 3 times a week. The pastor is a young Russian girl from Latvia that made Aliyah about 10 years ago. Dina, it's her name, had some Bible school training and was appointed. She was just appointed to be the pastor. We went to a congregation one Friday, and last week it was the first time we had a chance to sit with her. And we realized it was a good and much needed fellowship that she needed. And she tells us that the believers are the only people with peace to God in their hearts in Sderot, but they need to hold on to that peace a lot, because in Sderot all that people talk about is the situation. And that's all they deal with. Now, this is, I'm just going to mention a few things that we hear from the people. Now, maybe if you've read For Zion's Sake, you kind of also got a picture. But other things that people will say is, our children is growing up in war, and it shows. And we had one woman that she was saying her grandchildren, they play Qassam games, oh, here comes the Qassam, running with things. Teenagers, regression, wetting their beds, which is very embarrassing for them, because sometimes we sit with the families and the father will say, yeah, but my son is wetting his bed, and the son sits there and runs out of the room because he's so embarrassed. People that's, telling us they take 30-second showers because they need to go back to the bomb shelter. It's just very paranoid in a way. A city that looks dead. Last week we went there, and actually the city looked very alive. But they said, for 5 days it's been quiet, so the people are coming out. The children are starting to play. Loose teeth, they just lose, the teeth become loose in their mouths. The antidepressants, which is not always a good thing, and even opiates they're starting to give people because the medicine is not working anymore. And we have this lovely lady that we see, and they put her now on morphine because that's the only thing that's helping, because her legs become numb because of fear, then she can't run away. Things like that. Maybe you know the statistics, just plus minus 20,000 people that lived in Sderot, 5,000 already left. Trauma is on a constant base, and we kind of worked out each 4th or 5th person in Sderot is on psychological medication and has to see psychologists. Sometimes 40 to 50 Qassams in the area. 7,000 rockets have been falling mostly in these last years, plus minus. And sometimes families will tell Alina, of course she's the one that speaks initially to them. So they say to her, please make our case personal. And then once Alina told the man out of desperation, she said, there's 4,000 people being traumatized in Sderot. And I think out of his response was probably also out of desperation. And he said, well, my daughter is one of them. So what do you do? I think the worst that I've seen maybe is a woman we saw. Well, we've seen a lot of bad things. But a woman we saw last week, 1 year ago, 2006, 2 years ago, her life changed. She was at work, and the Qassam fell. Somebody got killed. He was burned during the attack. She was totally traumatized. She became, a week after, she became totally paranoid, schizophrenic. Her husband, a few months later, he had a work accident. He lost his job because of his back injury, so he has to take care of her. So we visited them last week. She was we couldn't speak to her. She was sitting, just rocking back and forth in the chair. I mean, you don't really know how to handle it if you've never really seen it. So me and Alina was kind of sitting in the corner there, just trying to see how we can handle the situation. The husband spoke most of the time. He couldn't really sit down because of his injury, so he was pacing. So it was, how do you become comfortable in a situation like that? And in the end, I went and sat near her and I asked him if I can speak to her, touch her. And because she was so heavily sedated, she was calm, and she responded very well, a very soft lady, but totally not there anymore. And it's just constant trauma. But just the comfort, just go and sit with them. It's amazing, and even we have to say no to a lot of people. But I know if we can just go there and just sit for a few minutes. And what we do, last week also, we actually felt so bad because we didn't see some of these people. We went with food vouchers, and we just sat with them, gave them 200, 300 food vouchers. Big families, and they don't want to uproot the whole families. And also from Bukharian Jews, Uzbekistan area. I'm going to show you a few photos, and then lastly, I just want to read you a poem that one of the ladies wrote to us. This is just, as you drive into Sderot, you see that bomb shelters. This is actually one that they've painted very nicely. Teams come in, for a day, and they will paint their bomb shelters. So this is just one of the buildings, and you can kind of see why that is. Okay. And this is also a bomb shelter. You've seen it in the For Zion's Sake. The what do you call it? The graffiti. It says, "We are not second best. Mashiach now, Messiah now." And also our shadows are different. And also something about whatever political things. Okay. This is just this life shield shelters that's been put in the certain areas, but sometimes I don't know how they get there because it's so far from where they live. Okay. This is at the mental health clinic. This is the secretary that gave us the referrals. They have a nice bomb shelter, so she was kind of bragging about the fact that they do have one because a lot of them doesn't. This is the inside of the bomb shelter. This is at the police station. I call it the Qassam graveyard. When I take people to Sderot, I normally take them there because it's quite impressive in a way to see it. All of them have dates on them, so you can see them. And that's, I think, Francet, what is that? What did they say was written on that Al-Quds, on the Qassam? It's written Al-Quds, which means holy city, Jerusalem, holy city. So I guess it's meant for. So yeah. This is David Sokol, the UK representative. We took them there, just showing all the Qassams. Yeah, just a quick story. This is a man, Avram. We visited him yesterday. Also, he didn't qualify for Under His Wings, but we just went to him. He said, "Oh, I saved the calendar for March this year. I saved for you because I wanted you to see the Qassam. When we had Qassam." So he has this little scheme going. The green is the days where there was nothing falling, and I think we counted 12 or 13. Days that there was just constant rockets coming in March. And this is April. We were there on the 15th, so they had already 2 or 3 Qassam days. So he's counting. He's living on the on the 4th floor of the building, and he's also one that needs to run down, and he normally doesn't make it, so he just goes to the second last floor, which is a bit safer for him. This is just house damage. This is a very nice area with nice houses, and the rocket just came straight into the house. Yeah. Now this is just how it looks like. Okay. This is actually a week before. It was not a Qassam. It was a Katusha, which is a bit stronger. That it came through the window, and you can go on. And she was just cleaning up, a week later. And she was just saying, we're still living in a hotel. Nobody's telling us what to, where we're going. We could help them with the war relief fund. This is after the Qassam came into the house. So the war relief fund helped a lot. Her husband was in the house. He was in this room. He protected the children. So he got hospitalized, but he was all right. He came to fetch the money too. This is just two friends that we've been seeing a lot of in Sderot, and just to show, I mean, everybody, when you go to a house, everybody is just pouring with hospitality onto us because they're so grateful. So this is just two friends. And this group settings too, where they go to the mental health clinic and they encourage each other. So that helps. But all of their medications, you can see this is all medication that one of the previous ladies used, and none help anymore, so they put her on morphine. Okay. This is just a pamphlet that the Russian pastor gave us, just showing that Yad Lachim came to. It seems that this is the only congregation in Sderot, and they came and they just plastered this sign that says, "Beware of the missionaries," or something like that. But not really having too much trouble, except this time and once that a person came to her and from Yad Lachim and saying, be careful, we're out there. So. And this is just us, and Kerry came with us the first time, and we were sitting having picnic in a safe spot, and then the guard came to us later and said, okay, the customs fall here too, so this is the bomb shelter if you just want to know. So anyway, that was quite a nice lunch. And before I end, I just want to read a poem from a lady that we've seen. She's maybe in her 60s, Tamara. She had a Qassam the day before. It was the 19th of January, so the 18th of January she had a Qassam falling in her house, and she did it in Hebrew, and Alina translated it for me, but Alina says it's very beautiful in Hebrew because it rhymes and everything, but maybe you get the idea of what people go through. So she says, I am full of anger, rage and resentment. Is a request for a little calm and quiet exaggerated? We have no strength and no one to ask to stop the terror. The government can see and hear but does not feel. Whoever does not experience cannot feel. Every day we say, we were lucky, none was killed today, and the government relies on luck too. The government stretches time and does not take the initiative to do something. Purim is not every day, and if a miracle of deliverance may not happen, people could be killed. The situation becomes worse from one day to another. Till when? The government wants us to get used to live like this, and maybe one could get used to it, but this is no life. They have to give us uniforms. We would wear army clothes. We are in the war. We are the soldiers, but impotent ones. We have no ability to protect ourselves. None is talking about the inner damage because one cannot see inside the soul. It is inside, in the heart, invisible. Even when we smile, it is not real. It is only a matter of instinct. The hearts of Sderot residents are sunk in sadness. Souls are burdened and lack quiet. What is the distinction between Sderot and a prison? Definitely a prison is preferable. In prison, the man's freedom is taken from him, but his security is provided. In Sderot, we have neither. Any minute one can pay the price of one's life. They say dreams may come true. With me, the reality of life, the Qassam, entered my dreams. The Qassam went straight into my dream and messed everything up. The fall of the rocket yesterday morning was so powerful, I jumped from sleep to dread. Usually in despair, people escape into dreams. They want to forget, and neither to see nor hear. They go to sleep looking for some peace and quiet. Here in Sderot, even this is impossible. We cannot even dream what to do. And that's not just her. We hear a lot of this. And that's it. The Seder.
She's got living water underneath here, I see, right? All right, very good. That was excellent. Really good. Doesn't that excite you? See what's happening? It really brings alive the projects. We can read about them for Zion's sake. We can hear bits and pieces from various coordinators, but when we hear the full stories, I get excited to see what's really happening, because we're really going out to meet the people, and that's where it's at. That's where our heart is in this ministry. Frank's got an announcement he'd like to make. So, Frank, can I ask you to come, please?
Nothing as exciting as some of what I just heard. But many years ago, the Lord gifted me with the ability to teach elementary Hebrew. And I've been studying the language for some 25 years now. But what I do know is that many people who come to Israel never have an opportunity to learn because of the amount of work that is to be done. And so what after talking to some people here, what I would like to do is offer an opportunity for you over a 6-week period to learn some basics about the Hebrew language. So at least you've got a building block, something to start with, like the alphabet, basic words, and a little grammar. And so in 6 weeks, at 1.5 hours a week on a Monday, that's the opportunity I'm presenting to you. If you're interested, what we need to know, though, is we need at least 6 people committed over the period, because unless there's a commitment, it's really not worthwhile doing, because it's discouraging to other people as well. So if you're interested in doing that, please let me know, and we could start on the Monday after the conference, which is the 19th. Yeah, the 19th of May. And that's all I would like to say. Thank you very much.
So it runs for 6 weeks, beginning May 19th, and it really does need a commitment from 6 people to see the 6 weeks through. Okay, and the best part's the price, which you didn't mention, did he? The best part's the price, but you didn't mention the price.
The price is really just the Friday cost of printing material.
Okay.
And if people are willing to make the commitment for 6 weeks and do it, then the payment enough.
Amen. Good. Thank you, Frank, for offering that opportunity to us. Okay. Any other announcements? No. Oh, the time, 5 to 6:30, I presume, right? In the dining room. Yeah. Okay. So those are interested, please see Frank and can organize the teaching times. Okay. Let's close in prayer. Father, we do want to acknowledge that it's your hand of blessing upon the ministry that enables us to continue to minister to the needs of your people, Israel, Lord. And how tragic to hear the stories of those in Sderot that are suffering immense psychological and emotional damage, Lord. We just pray for them today that in their searching for answers to what they're experiencing, Lord, we just pray they'll turn their hearts to you. They'll look up to you as our Heavenly Father, and they'll turn their hearts to you, Lord, and you'll meet them in a special way. We just want to bless them today, Lord. Thank you for all the encouragement that we've heard today, Lord. Thank you for how you, how you work by your Spirit among your people, Israel. Thank you for the part that we as your children can play in that ministry to point them to your Son, Yeshua, as our promised Messiah. Lord, we thank you for all that you've done and all you're doing and all that you will do in our midst. We just bless you for that in Yeshua's name. Amen. Bless you all.